but they keep hearing this term 48 because the maximum specification for this new specification, you're not going to see 2.1 on the box. You'll probably see ultra high speed or up to or 8K 60 or 4K 120. You probably won't see a 2.1 logo. There is no logo. It's going to be ultra high speed. But to get the maximum is 48. So people say, oh my gosh, 48, 48, 48. And I think LG got a little flack because they had mentioned that their TVs support 40. So I want to give you guys a real world, the world of high bandwidth and current consumer TV. I come from another gig, by the way, so I'm pretty involved in this television thing still, even though I do a lot of audio now. But the panels that is only a few prime manufacturers that make panels for consumer TVs. So if you buy an OLED, there's only one manufacturer pretty much that makes that OLED panel for all the brands. Sony, Panasonic, LG, the list goes on. Same thing with LCDs and also computer monitors. Well, those panels are 10-bit. So if I give you the maximum that panel can support, 4K 120, 10-bit colors, a billion colors sampled every second, red, green, and blue sampled every single time, the maximum number is 40. If I am a movie person and I have an 8-bit TV and I'm watching movies on it at 10-bit, which is the maximum color that panel can support, with all the colors sampled all the time, the number is 40. But they go, well, what about 8K 60? Well, 8K 60, there is no standard where the colors are sampled all the time for as an uncompressed standard. There's a lossless compressed standard, but uncompressed 8K 60, the maximum you can do is 10-bit 420, and drum roll please, the number is 40. So so a lot of times your TV is 40 is going to be the maximum that TV can support. So yes, a company or TV manufacturer could opt. Oh, and by the way, the boards that are in these TVs that are the third-party boards for HDMI 2.1, those boards are mostly 40 gigabit boards. Now you can go out and build a high-end a board that can support 48 at additional costs. But ask yourself, why would a TV manufacturer make a board and make you pay more for that board if the TV can't utilize all of the signal? Would you rather have a better backlight system, a better chassis, better construction, or would you rather have a board to get that extra 8 bits? So that's something that we have to think about. Now, the next thing is not only is the TV utilizing boards that can support up to 10-bit, let's look, we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that one. We'll go here. If you look at the game systems, the game system boards that they can buy for a high-end game system, console or video card, graphics card, can support 4 channels of 10 gigabits per second. That is what that channel can support for HDMI, which means 40 gigabits per second is the maximum. So you could turn up everything, and I could do maybe 4K at 60p, 12-bit 444, because that's under 40. But if I want 120 frames per second, it has to be 10-bit because the card can only output 40. So you can have 90 cards in your rack, but the output coming out of that card is 40. Okay, so 40 is from the sources, 40 is the panel, right? And so 40 is the maximum. Now some of your guys are like, well, Dolby Vision is recorded in 12-bit. 12-bit is required for 10,000 nits, not to see banding. At 4,000 nits, because of what's called PQ, perceptual quantization, which is the standard that HDR10, Dolby Vision, and HDR10 Plus are all based on, 10-bit is enough that the human eye cannot see banding on a 4,000-bit piece of material. So when we get to 10-bit panels, and you can buy a when you get a 10,000 nit TV with a 12-bit panel, then 12-bit becomes an option. But right now, Shane, I don't think that's available. Do you?
I know it's not available, not yet.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
let's say 12-bit does become available. Are these receivers going to be compatible?
The way that we do it is our receivers utilize the current chipset. Oh, my system locked up on me. There is our TV, our panel, our receivers utilize the If I can go back, it's acting up again. Hold on a second. Go back. Of course, my switcher now decides it wants to act up in the middle of the training, in the middle of the session. So let me let this come back. Of course, it's one of those things that I have to like wait. Yeah. You can see that. Hey, let's talk about the receiver as a backdrop. So the receivers can have can support up to 40 because that is the chipsets that are available. So would you rather have DTSX Pro, or would you rather at $2,500, or would you rather have 8 bits that you can't, another 8 gigabits per second? So we have to look at things like that. Now on our receivers now, we actually have what's called HDMI diagnostic. If I wish this thing would work, but we have this thing called HDMI diagnostics, which have always been built into our receivers. So we give you the ability to actually measure what's and verify your cables can support it. Cables right now are struggling to support 18 gigabits per second at distances past 4 meters. So now that a regular copper HDMI cable at 40 is only good for about 2 meters, if you're lucky, 6 feet. So that means, how do you know the cables you have can support the signal that you have? So I have what's called a 7G. It's a test pattern generator that can analyze that stuff. It costs about $7,000. We're going to build in to every single one of our X series receivers and that we're announcing today, an 8K HDMI diagnostics tool that can measure up to 40. So which is the maximum of your TV and the maximum of the display of the source you're going to be connecting. By the time there's 48, you're probably going to want another. You'll be able to drive your flying car over to the store and buy yourself a hologram TV with a 12-bit panel. Okay.
You're not making 12-bit panels seem very positive for future purchases.
No, it's. I mean, believe me, there are going to be advancements. But we were talking about this earlier, Shane. I come from a video side and I deal with an audio side. You have to look at these types of things. What's going to give you more colors, more interesting colors, is the color volume you get as manufacturers go from making 1,000 nit TVs to 4,000 nit TVs. Because think of Ferrari in the sunlight, Ferrari in the shadows. So do I pursue that massive amount of color volume, what you see, or do I pursue giving you more numbers? More. So that's the whole thing. So a lot of manufacturers, whether are looking for video side, are looking to give you more color volume. Remember, because color gamut is not changing by bit depth, right? How many colors in that triangle? It's just how many numbers I can pick out of that color gamut. Color volume is based on brightness. Manufacturers are chasing that. When it comes to us, we could have spent all that money building a one-off 48 gigabits processor, but all the cool things we're doing this year, preamp mode, dual speaker preset, and DTSX Pro, we could not have done. So ask yourself, as a home theater enthusiast, what's going to give you more enjoyment for the next several years? An additional 8-bit you can't use, or better surround, better tuning, and more adjustability. So that's how we just have to look at it that way.